Tonight, game one of the NBA Finals. Obviously, a lot of attention being paid on this matchup between the Warriors and Raptors, and mainly because one guy is not available for, at least for what we know, for game one and possibly game two, and that is Kevin Durant. So do you know any kind of updates on his health status, and will he be able to return for this finals matchup?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. According to the team, they announced he will not be available for the first games of the finals. What does that mean? He's been ruled out for game one, unlikely for game two, 3 or 4 up in the air. With this calf injury, it's been just an evolving situation. One piece of good news is that he is traveling with the team, so he is on board. He's part of everything they're doing, the film study. He's been progressing with individual on-court work, so no contact yet, just getting some shots up. But emotionally, it's also good to have him with the team.
Kerith, John Wallace here. I want to talk about some of the challenges that the Raptors are going to present for you guys. Honestly, I think the Raptors are going to win in 7. I think it's going to be a hard-fought series, but can you talk about some of the challenges that the Raptors will present for you, for the Warriors?
Yeah, it starts with the head of the snake. It's Kawhi Leonard right now. I mean, I think he's being recognized this season, especially as the best two-way player in the NBA. The Warriors know he falls into the category of guys that they cannot stop. They can only try to frustrate. So I imagine they're going to throw a lot of traps, a lot of blitzes his way. They're going to get him off of his spots if they can and force him to pass. But again, there's no stopping Kawhi. And then the supporting cast is really good. Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam in particular. He's probably the most improved player in the NBA. Yeah, the Warriors definitely have a tall task, and I think there's a lot of intrigue for this series. I don't think that the Warriors believe that winning a championship is easy, but they know that I think they're facing their toughest opponent yet.
Kerith, these guys are going after their 4th title in a span of 5 years, and we know about the historic run. How are they handling that part of the pressure? Because you guys you've been with them, but they've been there so often, there's a familiarity and there's an experience that you just have only because they've done it. But is that another layer for them in this discussion?
It is. They are falling back on their experience. I mean, this is a unique situation where they're starting the finals on the road. They had to travel a great distance. But it's all, I mean, they know this routine right now. It's old hat at this point, arriving at a 5th consecutive finals. There's a freshness to this one, I would say. You know, when you're at this point without KD and how important he is to the team, what they're doing right now, it's sort of like that all hands on deck feeling. They have to win these games or else they go home. So they're finding a new puzzle to do it. You know, when KD is missing, and he's an excellent two-way player as well, how do you make up for his length on the defensive side? How do you make up for his 34 points that he's averaging in the postseason? So it's giving them a new puzzle, and everyone is locking in to get this done.
And Kerith, along with Kevin Durant, who's been out for an extended period of time, just a little over 3 weeks, DeMarcus Cousins is actually active for game one.
Yes.
So do you foresee Boogie getting into the lineup for Steve Kerr in this game one or possibly game two?
I'm not sure, and there's a lot of talk about when Boogie is ready to come back, which could be tonight. What's the best way to use him? You've got to remember that this is his the first playoffs of his career. It took 9 years for him to get to this point. He's never been at the finals, and then physically, just to drop him in after he's missed action since mid-April, that's going to be a challenge for him. The speed of the game, making sure he has his legs and lungs. So I think if we do see Boogie tonight in game one, it's going to be short bursts, 3 or 4 minutes, just to make sure he's comfortable and ready to play.
Kerith, do you think that this is the best version of the Warriors team?
Ooh, that's hard to say. You know, they have their core group. They have Draymond and Steph and Clay. Those 3 have carried them through a lot of things. I think year by year it's been different. The first one that they won, that was when Steve Kerr came along. That was when Steph Curry had that season where he had 402 three-pointers. It was his MVP season. Then they lost the next year. That was blew the 3-1 lead. Then that was the first. Then after that, they won with KD for the first year. So it feels like, although there's been some consistency, 5 straight finals for them, there's a distinct difference to each of these finals rides. And I don't know that I could say which was the best team. I've only seen this season and last season in person, so it's just, I feel like I would have some of that recency bias if I said last year. This whole collection of teams and the way that the Warriors have won has been pretty impressive.
The bench came up huge in the series against the Blazers. Who are the guys that will be the X factors? Because you mentioned old hat. We know about Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Andre to a degree. Who has to step up?
Take a look at Alfonso McKinney. He used to play in Toronto. As a matter of fact, he was with the G League team. His story is incredible. The things that he did to he had to pay $175 to even try out for the G League, and then his path wound him to the Golden State Warriors. He's a good rebounder. He's a good three-point shooter, and his defense has been coming along if they need minutes from him at the wing spots. And then maybe if this game goes to small ball, maybe Jordan Bell. He would be using some of his athleticism, especially if Toronto plays Serge Ibaka. He's a good rim protector, and he's a lob threat on the other end. And I know Jordan has been itching to really make a few more contributions in this postseason.
All right, Kerith, we heard about Kevin Durant being out, Boogie Cousins returning. He's active. We talked about the Warriors bench, and we talked about Steph, Clay, Draymond stepping up, so we have to get the prediction. Of course, you are going Warriors, but what is it going to be? How many games? You got to let us know.
Is this a question?
Yeah,
but go ahead.
I know she's going to pick, but how many games? That's what I want to know.
I'm not picking the Warriors just because I cover this team. I just feel like I see their desire to seize this moment, to capitalize on this roster and make that NBA history to three-peat. I don't see this series going shorter than 6. I think 7 would be really intriguing, and I think that's the respect that the Warriors have for the Raptors as a very potent opponent. So 6 or 7, I think everybody's in for a long ride.
For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.